Welcome back to the show, everyone. Today we are talking about long-term care planning, support services for families. Joining me now is Mike Barrett, and long-term care insurance agent with LTCR Pacific, and Scott Mercuro, senior care advisor with Amada Senior Care. I know we need to start that over. That's a mouthful. You guys
have our last names and everything, right?
Very long titles.
Yes.
Very nice names. Thank you for joining me on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
I want to reverse engineer everything that you guys do so that we can understand what's behind your long titles and long names for the services that you offer.
Sure. Yeah.
You want to start off, Mike, and just let us know what's your experience with long-term care?
Absolutely. So first off, I've been in financial services for over 25 years, but I've become so much more passionate about long-term care because it became very personal to me. My own mother has been receiving care now for about 2 years. Now, fortunately for myself and my family, they have a long-term care policy. So what does that mean? A few things, right? First off, it helps significantly with the financial component. But just as important is also the hand-holding, the helping with the filing, the claim, and the finding the best, care provider for my folks. Thanks to Scott and his team with Amada, they found my mother not just a phenomenal caretaker, but somebody now that they actually consider a family member.
Really? Yeah. And has it been the same caretaker for the past 2 years?
It has. Well, she was in a skilled nursing facility for a few months, but since then, yes, it's been the same. And again, she's been.
That must
great.
Bring you a tremendous amount of peace of mind.
My folks live in Los Angeles, and we all know how traffic can be. It could take 2 hours. I'm an only child. The burden falls on my shoulders. So knowing you're spot on. So knowing that my mom's in great hands as a phenomenal caretaker gives me a lot of peace of mind. Yes.
Wow. So Scott, how has Amada served Mike's mom?
So it's actually a very rewarding experience to hear these comments from a family member directly, like Mike. We helped her out, and we've provided great continuity for her, and that's what we strive for: is to have somebody who meets the bill of what they're looking for. That's going to be a palatable experience for them, cares for them, prevents any danger that they could be in. And also becomes, like you said, a family member and somebody that they look forward to coming into a system. Mm-hmm. And that's what we do. Is I work with seniors and their families to help them find the right support, whether that's in-home care services like we've done for Mike, or for Mike's mom in this case, or also help her with her long-term care insurance policy. We help all of the clients that have long-term care, which is a rare commodity. Less than 5% actually have a policy. And we'll help them navigate it from the beginning to the end, do the whole claims forms process, call the insurance company, and get through all the red tape questions that the family or the client themselves would not know to ask. And that can be utilized to cover their care costs. This is something they paid 25, 30 years into in premiums, and it's high time they start using it for their care costs.
Absolutely.
Additionally, I also help people with veterans benefits. There's U.S. veterans who also could get some benefit to cover the care costs for home care. And then if home care is not the most conducive route, maybe it's not feasible, we can set up tours to go see assisted living facilities and residential care homes, as that might be a better option for their family member. So it's a big encompassed process with us, and it's pretty great. It's one of those things where we try to take the stress out of what can be otherwise a very emotional process for these family members.
Absolutely.
And allows them to be just that, a family member, and not have to deal with the nuance of being a caretaker to their loved one.
Yeah, because that can become very stressful, right? I would imagine, like you just said, you never even know what the traffic's going to be like. So that's just a piece of the overall stressful situation. And then you going to Los Angeles to be a caretaker for your parents, you don't get to spend quality time with them.
Absolutely. Yeah, if I may, I want to touch on a couple of things or add some things. First off, and I think the first one Scott alluded to, which is one of the things that really shines with Amada is my folks aren't paying the bill and getting reimbursed. So Scott and his team really help with filing the paperwork with the insurance carrier. The insurance carrier is paying them directly. So that in and of itself is alleviating so many headaches. Mm-hmm. Furthermore, when my mom was transferred from that skilled nursing facility, I was concerned. My folks live in Los Angeles. It's this 2-story home. There's some steps to the front door, some steps from the living room to the kitchen, a master bath, and so forth. So they went above and beyond. They had somebody come to the home, assess it for safety, and my parents moved forward to make sure that my mom was in a good place. So really appreciative of that.
Fantastic. I would imagine that not a lot of people, like you said earlier, not only do they not know about it, the process has got to be so intimidating to try to navigate on your own.
Definitely.
If you even know that it's available.
Well, and also think about the process of all the payments you put into this policy, and then being able to kick it on for this care. It's a fantastic resource. So we've made ourselves experts on it to help navigate that whole process.
And so when you say they've paid into it, can you explain what that actually means?
So when you speak with an insurance agent such as Mike, you can set up long-term care insurance that covers one day when you might need care, when something falls short in terms of your health, overall well-being. They call them activities of daily living. Either you have a cognitive impairment or a physical limitation, and that can kick on the policy. And now you can utilize the funds that are in that policy, because essentially, with insurance, it's a gamble. You don't know if you're ever going to use it. In this case, it's probably a pretty hedged bet that one day you're going to need to use it. And it alleviates you having to use your own savings, rely on family members' assistance, or even a lot of people have to do reverse mortgages on their own home just to pay for the care costs. It's not inexpensive, to say the least. So having this rare commodity when the time comes to kick it on can be very intimidating as to how to navigate the whole process. And that's where I come in at Amada.
Right. So Mike, at what point do you recommend somebody look into long-term care insurance and get a policy?
That's a great question. Well, we always say when you're younger and healthier is the best time. But at the same time, there's never a wrong time, right? I've looked at hundreds and hundreds of cases, right? So my job, I represent first off probably 15 different carriers that are all A-rated. They're financially secure, heavily regulated entities. So my job is to evaluate each case individually. I interview folks to make sure that I'm putting the best possible policy in front of them. But again, we can fund these policies in many different ways. There's typically no vesting period, so as soon as they're approved, those funds are there, 100% of those funds for when they need it. And again, Scott alluded to this, but it's a very high probability that folks will need this. It's about a 70% chance. And in many cases with these policies, if they don't use it, they don't lose it. The funds in many cases will come back to their beneficiary.
Is that right? Kind of
Seems
sounds
like a win-win.
Savings account for
Yeah.
an emergency or long-term purposes.
We worry about
Almost.
saving money for retirement, and people don't ever consider the fact that when their health goes south in their elder years, this is quite an expensive arena to get home care. And sometimes when they need 24/7 in their house, it can be quite costly. So having a policy is huge. So what he's providing is a really great resource to look into.
Wonderful. Mike, tell our viewers how they can contact you.
Absolutely. The best method for me is my cell phone number. I always tell people I want to be personally there for them when they need it. Just a quick example, I was overseas for the past week and my phone was ringing. Even though I was on vacation, I take those calls. So it's all about the concierge service. I want people to know they can rely on us. Best way to reach me is my cell phone number, which I believe is posted on the screen. But again, 949-525-0606.
Wonderful. That is valuable information. I really appreciate you two coming on and telling us about your services. I know it'll be helpful to our community.
Well, thanks for having us.
Thank
Greatly
you.
appreciated.
Scott and Mike, appreciate it. Coming up next, we'll get an update from the library. Stay with me.